I just got an IM saying, waiting to hear the Harbaugh bangers today. So I just kind of want to get this out of the way while I'm all fired up about it, if that's all right.
Okay, can we play this in context with the Michigan? Because he is at the school where the walkout happened, right?
Yes.
So maybe we combine those two.
Sure.
Or you can go off on Harbaugh if you want.
Yeah. So Jim Harbaugh, people might remember him as the former coach of the San Francisco 49ers, but currently is the head coach of the University of Michigan football team. He couldn't hack it with professionals, men who get paid and have agency and opinions, and don't see him as king or judge, jury, and executioner on their lives. Because at Michigan, if you don't play, you don't get to go to the NFL, and you also don't get paid. So Harbaugh, holds all of these young athletes' futures in his hands. And I think he prefers it that way because he's a big man. He's also very anti-choice, anti-abortion. And here he is in an ESPN interview talking about what he would do if a member of his family had an unplanned pregnancy.
The family being the University of Michigan football team and staff members, these extended family.
Oh, got it.
God.
But I've told, same thing I tell my kids, boys, the girls, same thing I tell our players, our staff members. I would encourage them if they have a pregnancy that's wasn't planned, to go through with it, let that unborn child be born. And if at that time, you don't feel like you can care for it, you don't have the means or the wherewithal, then Sarah and I will take that baby. Any player on our team, any female staff member, any staff member, or anybody in our family or our extended family that doesn't feel like after they have a baby that they can take care of for it, we got a big house. We'll raise that baby.
Just rely on the benevolence, not really benevolence, but the benevolence of wealthy capitalists to take care of your baby, because we've decided by universal decree that you have to go through a forced pregnancy because of our morality. And though I am making a decision where a woman or a girl or a person that can get pregnant has to go through a 9-month process where they are forced to give birth, carry a baby, all the health implications, all the health costs of that they do not want to have. And then they have to go through the emotional, difficult moment of having that baby, going through a painful labor, giving that baby up to their boss. A member of my staff has a baby in an unwanted pregnancy. I'll take it. That sounds like a completely realistic thing to ask of people. And also, Jim, how many thousands of kids are in Michigan foster care right now? What's stopping you? What's stopping you? Was he not a part of the Michigan family directly? Was it not a female coaching staff member? I mean, give me a break.
I think people are probably going to be harsh on him for this, for, obvious reasons. But I think it's good that he's trying to put together like the ultimate NFL combine prep system where he's willing to adopt all the unwanted babies of, semi-professional athletes and raise them on this sort of, I guess, compound of his, because he's a big house, and I assume in order to create the world's best football family. So
it's a farm system. It's a farm system for professional athletes, but not professional unless you make it to the league, because you won't get paid while you're playing basically actual professional ball on a for Michigan. But Jim Harbaugh gets to get paid millions and millions of dollars for that. Don't cut into that and give it to the players. Just give me your babies.
I get paid $7 million to coach amateur athletes that aren't paid for that. And if any of those amateur athletes happen to be involved in a pregnancy, and they can't afford, let's say one reason, how about you just take some of your money and give it to that family? Maybe they can keep the kid. Maybe that's one of the huge obstacles, is that these kids are being exploited by you. I think we just lost Bender here. Being exploited, and that's part of the problem. So you'd be taking children from people you're literally exploiting for your $7 million a year contract and giant house.
Yeah. I already hated Jim Harbaugh before I found out that he was anti-abortion, and I hate him even more now. He's notoriously a not nice guy. I've heard that from many people, and this just proves it. This just proves. I mean, like college football coaches should be studied as like absolute psychos who want to. I mean. It's so paternalistic every way that they conduct their business. They want their players to have no power so that I recruit you, I come to your high school and I save you and I give you this opportunity. You might blow out your knee and you might never be able to go actually get paid for your labor that you've provided for the university in terms of millions of dollars in revenue. That goes into my pocket. That goes into my pocket, but you should be grateful that you have the opportunity, and don't talk back to me. Don't speak up to me, because I might bench you for that very reason. And then your entire career is going to be a go kaput. You won't be starting. And so an NFL team's not going to be able to notice you. And all the while you'll get paid nothing, as the University of Michigan has a semi-professional system that allows them to create to revenue for all their other projects, and that goes into my pocket, and for you get nothing. And then he has the gall to say, hey, you're my family. You're my family that I exploit for millions of dollars, and out of the goodness of my heart, if you're involved in a pregnancy, I'll take that baby away from you as I advocate for you to be forced to have that pregnancy. College football coaches are absolute psychos, and that's why I will never, ever support this institution.
Yeah, I've made this point before here, but this is another example. The Clemson University head football coach, Dabo Swinney, he is like a arch evangelical Christian, and he many times does not. He is an ardent detractor from the name, image, and likeness law policy of like college kids having any way to profit off their likeness and off their performances on the field and on the court and whatever, while also being the highest paid public employee in South Carolina.
Oh, what a coincidence!
I mean, this is a long-standing thing. It is weird how these guys are gravitated towards coaching young men. Very young men instead of adults.
Oh yeah.
You see that with what's the Indiana Bob Knight?
Yep, Bob Knight.
Constantly, there are certain guys. It's like, yeah, they'll never coach the pros, and like the subtext of that is because they abuse the young men that they coach, and actual professionals wouldn't tolerate
they
that.
wouldn't. But that's actually really what happened with Harbaugh, honestly.
And Urban Meyer.
Because Harbaugh coached the team that Kaepernick was on. I was about to say Kavanaugh. That Kaepernick was on. And, like, he still, I think, maintained a relationship with Kaepernick, so maybe that's one feather in his cap.
But he initially did say that he had to clarify his comments on Kaepernick. I just looked this up. He had to say that he initially said he doesn't respect the motivation of the action, and then he's like, oh, I understand. And then he came out and said, well, I understand the motivation. I just don't agree with the form.
Of course. But the point is by the way, I mean, in addition to him being a bad guy, that 49ers football team was one of the most talented teams in the past 20 years. And the reason that they did not win that Super Bowl was because his offense was so rudimentary that Mike McCarthy might actually have more of a creativity in his system.
And the power went out.
Right, I remember that.
Conspiracy.
Yes, but this is also happening at the University of Michigan. Same. This was the graduate school though here. This group of medical students actually walked out when a anti-choice keynote speaker.
A sort of branded pro-life feminist that says, I mean, basically the things you would expect from a pro-life feminist.
So they walked out. But for some reason, I don't.
And it should be. And I do want to. Sorry, just cut you off.
No, it's okay.
I was told like 90%, upwards of 90% of these students requested that this change was made, and the university forced this through. And so once again, this is a situation where it's not a woke university. It's the elites at a university trying to push a reactionary through, and people not putting up with it, especially at a time where these rights are being absolutely attacked. And part of these friendly faces, pro-life feminists, are actually the spear point and a huge problem that leads people to not understanding the severity of the problem we're in.
And interesting that University of Michigan seems to have no problem with these kinds of perspectives, both in their college athletic program and in this keynote speaker to these medical students.
The White Jacket's getting up to leave.
Wow.
Good afternoon.
Peace.
I'm quite honored to have been chosen as this year's White Coat ceremony speaker.
That's
I'd
great.
like to extend a very warm welcome to everyone who is joining us for this special day. Especially.
But not them. They're not joining you.
Right.
I mean,
if you realize too, like the majority of that audience that was left that didn't get up were not wearing those those white coats.
Right.
That means
It was
like
the people she was specifically invited to speak to weren't fucking with her.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these reactionary labeling tricks where you call yourself something like an anti-woman feminist or something are meant to appeal to a very specific part of our intellectual class, like the, pundits who, when you're writing an article for New York Times, they're impressed by this, this varied heterodox perspective. But people who don't have to like exist in that world oftentimes see through these like very lazy tricks very easily. So, I think that good on them for walking out, because, just because you call yourself something doesn't mean we have to respect that particular we have to respect your ideological affiliation that you've identified at, just because after you say literally everything to the contrary.
Well, I mean, I also exactly it's so divorced from what people are on the ground are actually going to be experiencing. I mean, being a doctor at a white coat ceremony, going into the medical profession, they see what's happening all across the country with doctors that are being forced into these untenable situations where they're facing threats of prosecution and of lawsuits if they perform a procedure that might be saving the life of a mother. So if you're a medical student, having a speaker like that, it's fundamentally incompatible with your mission as a doctor.
And here is this person, this is the speaker herself, Kristen Collier. She's an assistant professor of medicine at the university. A tweet from May of this year: holding on to a view of feminism when one fights for the rights of all women and girls, especially those who are most vulnerable. I can't not lament the violence directed at my prenatal sisters in the act of abortion done in the name of autonomy.
Psycho.
I wonder what she thinks about trans people too.
Good argument. Good argument. I'm such a feminist that I'm also a feminist for the women who don't exist yet and have not been born. So I'm only going to focus on them. That's a good argument. Yeah. I'm also a feminist, and that's why I believe that women should be actually chattel if they happen to have any contact with men that is sexual and results in pregnancy. So like that's like at the core of my feminism.
I brand myself as a fetal exclusionary radical feminist. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
a furf.
I'm a furf. I'm a furf.
Listen, as a capitalist, I'm going to need you to recognize all the money I will have in the future, assumedly, and you need to accept that this mansion over here is mine legally, and that I'm going to buy this nice new car because, I value the money that I don't yet have, but will soon, I assume.
Yeah, and after the pro-life feminists, they had the pro-factory farming vegan on, and the pro-coal environmentalist.
Frankly, I think, conceptual fetal feminism is the only kind of feminism that we should be talking about nowadays. And it's disgusting how the left is not willing to concede that like imaginary women deserve the same rights that we all do.
Pretty sure Barry Weiss is working on that Substack right now.
She's already published on this topic.
Oh, well.
Did you even listen to the speech? It was about how it's about medicine in the machine age. Yeah, it's like, first of all, like,
she actually has written about this?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I mean, come on. My
it's a
instincts.
job.
Yeah, well, I'm good at my job.
Yeah. it's like asking if like Bill Simmons wrote about the latest Celtics game.
And sorry,
Matt's spicy today.
Sorry, I just wanted to also highlight the second tweet from that one we just read, which says, liberation that costs innocent lives is just oppression that is redistributed.
Oh,
so
this is a dunderheaded right-wing idiot.
Yeah, the redistributed oppression is for the unborn people. Got it. Right.
Fundamentally not serious when people start throwing out buzzwords to like things that they typically like scorn, like redistribution.
Yeah. they've learned to talk in such a way, and this is like a typical trick of like far right demagogues. They've learned to talk in such a way that they believe that when you try to contradict their stupid ideas, implicates, you know, things like you were saying. Like when I tell you that like we're not going to make laws based on a conceptual idea of like a woman that does not exist, they want to be able to go like, well, what about trans women? And then it's just like, it's not the same thing, you know. And the fact that you're like these conversations are designed to draw like these really lazy parallels between things that they think that we are incapable of like distinguishing, so that they can make, you know, even further reactionary arguments. But I mean, obviously that's why you just walk out, because it's just, they're not arguing or presenting anything in good faith.
Absolutely.
Affluence and Wretchedness writes in, I'm adopted and there's nothing that enrages, I think you meant me more than anti-adoption freaks presenting adoption as an easy alternative to abortion. My birth mother was 19 and lived in the state where abortion was accessible. She had a family who offered to help her if she felt ready to be a mother. She actively chose to continue her pregnancy. She chose to go through childbirth and to hand me over to my parents with the knowledge that she wouldn't see me for at least 18 years. Her agency in all of that, in my existence, is choosing people she trusted to raise me, has always mattered to me. No one should be cornered into that, especially not by their weirdo fundy coach.
Yeah, and especially when like there are problems with the adoption. I mean, you hear what's her name, the Supreme Court Justice, the new Christian freak we have on her,
Amy Coney Barrett.
Amy Coney Barrett, talk about. Yeah, well, we'll have more stock. I don't know if she said the word stock, but she might as well have used stock in the adoption supply.
Yeah.
It's freakish and it's horrifying, and it has a horrible legacy in this country. Whether, I mean, taking children from any sort of like class oppressed populations and giving them to wealthier people, like that's in the definition of genocide.
Yeah, what did the Pope? Obviously not in this country, so to speak, Matt. But what did the Pope literally just apologize for in Canada?
Exactly.
You know, like literally, essentially disappearing indigenous kids from their communities.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like this weird fantasy that I think a lot of Christian fundamentalists and right wingers have. What is that? I mean, this is Mormons, but Mitt Romney's family member, they have a black adopted child, and he used that as a way to ward off claims of racism. When
Who let the dogs out?
It is like
I remember when Melissa Harris Perry had to leave MSNBC because she made that point about like when she tweeted out that joke like one of these things is not like the other when he posted his like family photo, and I was like, you know, it's a good joke, but you know where you work.
Oh, now I can't get that Peacock money anymore. Because I made the same
demonetized.
one. Dang.